Houston received record amounts of rainfall after Hurricane Harvey slammed ashore. The floodwater stranded many people. Our Houston affiliate, KHOU, broadcast one rescue live as it unfolded last month. Reporter Brandy Smith led first responders to a stranded semi-truck driver on a flooded road. She tracked that driver down today to see how he's doing. Brandy Smith joins us now to share the reunion. Brandy, it's so good to have you here.
It's wonderful to be here. Thank you so much for having me. Robert was in kind of a tough spot when we first saw him. He was stuck in the cab of his truck with nowhere to go as water rose around him. We just happened to be standing on an overpass above, and a rescue crew just happened to drive by moments later. It was a chance encounter that Roberson believes was the work of God.
I cannot imagine how terrifying it would be to be stuck right there, right now.
You can probably hear in my voice the helplessness we felt as videographer Mario Sandoval and I broadcast from an overpass in northern Houston.
I'm trying to get reconnected really quickly.
Communications were difficult as remnants of Hurricane Harvey swamped our city.
You're hearing from folks back at the station?
And we had just gotten word that we were alone on the air. Water was gushing into our station.
So we're evacuating the building now,
prompting staff to head for higher ground.
I think he's hanging on the edge of the window.
So as we peered into that cab with a man trapped inside, there was little we could do.
I'm gonna flag these guys down.
That's when we spotted a rescue team from the Harris County Sheriff's Office.
There's a truck driver stuck here in about 10 feet of water.
How high did the water get?
The water got just where you're seeing it on the picture, right there at the window.
The driver inside that truck was Robert Roberson. We caught up with him at home with his wife in Mississippi. He says he didn't realize the water was that high until it was too late.
And as you go in that water and instead of hitting your chest, you start feeling like you're getting short of breath.
As he caught his breath, his first priority, he says, was finding his water-resistant phone, which had sunk in his cab. He wanted to speak to his wife, Virginia.
I called her and I said, look, you know something going on here. Pray for me.
He said that my truck been flooded. The water done took over the truck. He said, and I'm gonna be on television. That's the only thing he said.
And the television camera was rolling as rescuers entered the water.
Sir, they're putting the boat in just now. They're on their way.
All right.
But when you holler out, Lord save me.
And here he comes.
We could barely contain our relief as emergency responders delivered Roberson to safety.
This is gonna sound weird, but can I hug you? I'm so happy you're okay.
We don't know what kind of pressure a human being can really take. We really just don't know.
Until you live it.
Until you live it. Can I get a hug?
There were more hugs back at home, where Robert Roberson is getting back to work in a replacement truck. Each of us grateful we came across the other when we did.
My God, thank you. My God and angel. I never forget you. Never forget you.
You got my number now. You call me if you ever need anything.
Thank you.
Roberson tells us he spent several days at the George R. Brown Convention Center. There's a shelter there before his company picked him up and provided him with that replacement truck. He tells me he still has dreams about the rising water, but he tries not to think about what would have happened if help hadn't come along when it did.
Well, Brandy, boy, we watched that, live on TV when it happened because we were broadcasting a lot of your coverage, and then it went viral. I mean, the reaction I'm sure you got from that story.
It's been a little bit surreal, and really I think a large part of why it went viral was our signal for KHOU cut out. So as I had flagged down the truck with the airboat, our signal died. And a lot of people were left on the edge of their seats wondering, yes, whether he made it out okay. Mario, the photographer I was working with, had the wherewithal to have been rolling the entire time. So we were able to post that video on Facebook. If Mario hadn't done that, then this wouldn't have impact.
Thank you, Mario. But I think what touched everybody about you, Brandy, is that it was so spontaneous and so human. And I'm wondering what you were thinking during that moment, because I could barely see that guy. In fact, I couldn't see the guy in the truck.
Yeah.
And clearly you could. What were you thinking during that time?
I'd love to say I was thinking. I don't know that I was. I just went into autopilot. I had this job to do as a reporter. I knew I was the lone reporter left live for our station because they had evacuated. It had flooded. And I knew we had to get this guy out of the truck. So I tried to figure out a way to do it simultaneously, and thank goodness.
He said he asked his wife to pray for him. Did he think he was going to die?
Actually, he said he wasn't scared. The prayers came earlier when he knew the forecast was pretty messy for Houston.
But at the moment, cool.
Let's just say this about Brandy. You've only been on the job 6 months at that station. Put that on your resume, Rita. My boss's name is Ryan Cajo. You should call him.
And by the way,
Thank you, Brandy.
and by the way, when I got back
Watching
to Houston,
CBS This Morning, we'll be right back.